Alright, so what I've got going on today, I'm going to look at the HX Stomp Line 6 again. I've still got a lot of stuff that I can show off here, and it looks like there's a lot going on. I'm using a version of 4 cable method with little extra going on here to make this work. But what I've got is one of the digital clean amps, and then the distorted amp that you heard when I switched was actually my real amp that I have in here with me, which is a 5-watt tube Black Star amp, and then a Marshall 1x12, which sits here just right beside me. So it's a little different. I've seen people, think that this thing is just an amp modeler and that it can't be used within your regular rig. People feel like you have to get rid of your tube amp or solid state amp, whatever you've been using, and that's just simply not the case. There's ways around it here. So basically what's happening, as you can see, this red block that's on, that's the jazz chorus type amp. And then the block right there, the blue one, is the effects loop left. So that's when I'm running to my real amp and returning to this as well. And then I'm also sending the signal back to the amp and have volume control over that. So let me actually just start over, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to mess something up on this. So I've built this preset that I like. I haven't saved it yet, and oops, I switched over to the next preset, go back, it's gone. Okay, so what I've got going on, like I said, is kind of a 4.5 cable, maybe you could say, that I'm doing. So I'm running from my guitar into the HX Stomp, and then I've got this cable right here. So this is going to be an important part. Should I turn off my amp? Because it's still going there. So this is a TRS patch cable. So for those that don't know, this is kind of a little bit of a upgrade on this. This is a normal patch cable, mono, what most guitar cables are going to be. This one is in stereo. TRS stands for tip, ring, sleeve. You might also see this one called a TS. That would just be tip, sleeve. The ring lets it send kind of a stereo signal. So this is going to be important for the way that I have this set up. Before I got the old Blood Noise Endeavor split meld, which is cool. This is some Velcro I put on the top, so it actually lives underneath my HX Stomp on the board, kind of lifts it up a little bit and doesn't take up space on my board. Before I had that, this is what I was using. So you can see it is TRS male on one side, and then you have your left-right split female on the other side there, which you could then take just a normal plug that it's only sending half of the signal to one of these. You can plug it into that, plug another deal into the other side. And that's cool and all, and I love this plug, but it sticks out a little bit. I didn't like that it was taking up that much space on the floor of my pedal board, so that's why I got the split meld to stick underneath, and the Velcro attaches onto the bottom of this and then connects it to the floor there as well. So the reason I need the TRS is because I need to send the signal to the front of the amp and then come back from the return, or from the send of the effects loop there. And what that essentially does is give the front of the amp basically its own channel right there to work off of. And then I need the other split. If I was just doing it that way and running to the amp, I could get away with just a normal patch cable. But I also want to be able to return to the return of the effects loop on the amp and be able to control the master volume of that separate from what I'm doing in the Stomp. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So I have to hit the home button to take us into the menu here. And let's start with that effects loop there. So I'm going to start right about here in the middle, hit this bottom button to bring up the menu, drop down here to send and return. And I want a mono. Let's see, that one right there. So that was the return left. What I want is effects loop left, right there. And you can hear all that noise. That is the amp I'm just going to turn that off. So you see that's very hissy, very harsh compared to what was playing through. And the reason for that is it's just that preamp signal with no speaker emulation at all. Now, in the room, I don't need that because I have it running through a speaker, my Marshall 1x12. But for what you guys are hearing, running through the computer, I need some kind of speaker emulation. So let's go over here, a few spots out, hit that button. And we don't need amp and cab, we just need a cab. Single. You know what? Let's treat ourselves to a dual cab. There we go. I don't think that we're going to be testing the DSP on this one. And let's go greenback 30s. All right. So that's what it would sound like. Just raw guitar. This is my clean signal minus the... There's my clean signal. There's with the amp, or with the cabs, and here's with the amp. So without the speakers, it really tames the tone a lot. Right now it's on this dynamic microphone, but if I turn this, I can make it the 57. So the mic you put on it can make a big difference too. And then you can control things like the position, the distance from the speaker that it's trying to emulate there. So right now, got a good setup. It's a little noisy. I can do that to get it to go off. I don't think if I mess with the gate at the beginning that it's going to do anything, but I might as well show that. So if you go, you have the blocks right here, but if you sit right on the very first little input there, you actually have access to this gate, which can be off or on. So having it on, that didn't kill the signal, but it made it a bit quieter. I might as well just leave that on. Okay, so I've got this hissing going on. That's my real amp. That's the speaker emulation. Let's do this. I'm gonna move this over a spot. So to do that, I hit the action button, which is to the right of the top, and then it lets me scroll it really anywhere that I want. I don't want it to go after. I want it to be somewhere out here. Okay, and then let's add in the clean amp that I want to be able to switch with this. So hit this button, bottom one. Scroll down to amp. I don't want amp and cab. I could get away with amp and preamp if I really need to. I suppose I could do that. But I don't want one of these distorted amps. I want the Jazz 120. All right. Now these don't sound very good together running at the same time. So right now I've got the Jazz running into the amp, but if I hit the action, flip it. It works, but it's not great, really. It doesn't, I don't think it's going to really wow anybody. So let's do this. I'm going to turn one of them off. And then I'm going to assign them both to one switch right here. And I can do that easily by just touching the switch. It's going to bring up that little menu. Let's see. Here's what I want to do. Just touch that one. Assign block to foot switch. Yes. Okay, so now that's the red one. And if I hit that, it turns it on and off and on and off. But I want to get them to switch. So I'm going to assign the effects loop also to the first foot switch. Okay. Now, so just by hitting that button, this is a digital Jazz Chorus amp made by Roland. It's that kind of Metallica clean sound. Excuse me. I got sick weeks ago and I'm still kind of dealing with it a little. Alright, hit that button again. That's the real amp. And of course they're both sharing the same speaker, dual speaker thing. That is one of the trade-offs to do in dual, is that you can't have like two sets of cabs, I don't think. Like, let me scroll out here. Let's see. If I go to cabs, yeah, it won't let me do a single or a double from there, so not a big deal. Let's see. So this has got it set up. I mean, this is very basic. I could add things like EQs and whatnot and other effects to kind of fill out this preset. But why don't I do this? Let's route it so that it's going back to the speaker in my room that I have here too. And this is why it's important to have the TRS cable and then this second switch right here. So the left effects loop is sending signal and returning. You can do single blocks too, like a send and then the next block is return. So you can space them out if you wanted to and skip some blocks. But I wanted it to take up the least amount of blocks and be easiest to control, so I'm using effects loop. Now, since I'm not returning to the rig again from the amp once I return to it, this is all just so I can have a real speaker in the room that's also playing this. I'm wearing my headphones so I can hear it. I've got the baby resting in the next room, so I'm going to try to do this without blowing the roof off. Let's see. So go down. And I want the send. Let me do this. There, clean channel. So send in mono, and I want to send on the right. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I had my amp on standby. So this tube amp, you can turn it on, and it'll sit. It'll still send signal through the effects loop, but it's not actually sending power to the cab. So, all right, I'm on the clean amp. All right, but that's pretty loud in the room. I'm glad I'm not on the distorted channel. So the volume knob right here is not going to affect what is being sent to the cab. So I could either use something like this, my easy trim right here. I could use this to set and control the volume running to the amp, but it's much easier just to use the send output on this. So right now 0.0 sending to the effects loop, it's wanting to send its full power, or it's wanting to go full power. So I'm going to cut it. Let's make it about 34 decibels right now. See, I can mostly hear what's in my headphones. Bring it up a little. It's definitely in the room. I'll bring it up a little bit more so you can hear it. I know there's always a little bit of bleed in my videos with the guitar sitting just right under the microphone that I'm using. But you're probably actually also hearing that. Let me see if I turn this down. So you're not hearing anything coming through like the processing. Like my headphones, I'm not hearing anything, but I've got the amp in the room that's playing. Switch. Let me blend this back in. See, so what you're hearing now, that's in the room. That's through the HX Stomp. Tell you what, let's add a delay in there. So I'm just gonna hit save. I don't even need to worry about naming it, but now if I accidentally swap off of it and come back, it's still there, which is nice. Let's put the delay. I'm going to space the speaker out. So hit that. Space it over. Let's drop the delay right there. Let's just do a simple delay. And then let's do a room reverb. So we'll go legacy on that one. There we go. All right, so let's see. And tell you what, so because the delay is spaced after the send right now, it's not getting any of that coming through the room. And let me assign that to a switch. So now that one's green. Also this red one right here, if I tap the switch right there, since I have it assigned to two different things, and one of them's amp and one of them's send, if you just tap it, it changes the color right there. So Yeah, it's pretty cool. Let's go back to that. So that delay that you're hearing is just coming through the processor, the HX Stomp return. The room is not getting any of the delay, but I can switch that by going to it, hitting action, swapping it before, and now let me turn down the HX Stomp. Let's bring it back in. Of course, you got the reverb that's only being heard through the unit here, but the delay is coming through into the room. So, I mean, I could keep going. I'm having a good time with this preset that I've built here, so I might go ahead and save it once more. I'll give it a name here in a bit. Let's just call it this. Scroll. We'll call it YouTube. So get the Y, O, hit the button. If you get on the letter you want and hit that button, it changes it for you. It's much faster to do this through the HX Edit program, and it's not like it's hard for me to hook up, but I just like to get used to doing this. YouTube. Here we go. Now it's called YouTube. There you go. So this is really just a video to kind of demonstrate that you can still use your real amp. If you like your amp, you can keep your amp. And it basically just turns into a block or a channel on the Stomp here, and you can control the send and return. You can drop it into a parallel path with the A/B thing there too. That's actually what I've used it for live. Is I didn't want to get rid of my PV-XXX just yet to be just relying on this. So I was running it on one path and then running like a digital version of a Marshall on the other half, and I could split the effects between them. It was super cool. So anybody that says that this is a toy or that you can't, you have to get rid of your amp, it's just not the case. You do have to get a little bit creative, as I've shown here. But if anyone has any questions on their setup, please let me know. I feel like I've done everything wrong in the process of trying to figure out how to get this exactly right. But I hope that this video is helpful for you guys, and I will talk to you here soon.